No Agenda Student Ministry Podcast until we have one.
Wait, I think we should call it No Strings Attached.
No strings attached!
That's what I'm talking about. That's what it's all
No
about.
strings attached. No Agenda Student Ministry Podcast is canceled. No Strings Attached starts
Now.
today. I love it. Welcome in, man. You can look at whatever camera you want to. It doesn't matter.
Boom.
You're on both.
That's cool.
You're in both
You're the
shots.
center.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, I'm Scott Kress, but everybody knows me as String. Nobody knows me by my real name, so now y'all know.
That's right. I actually had to Google it today.
No,
I was
you
showing him something. I was like, "What is String's real name?"
You know, even
Google.
on my even on mail that I get from the church, it says String on it.
That is awesome.
I love it.
That's like T-Bone and Touchpoint just says
Oh yeah,
T-Bone.
T-Bone.
Does
Yeah.
it really?
Well, it says his last name.
T-Bone,
It
we're
does say
calling for you.
T-Bone.
T-Bone, we're calling for you to be a part of No Strings Attached.
T-Bone
okay?
Goldston. All right, we edit that out. Nobody knows his last name.
I don't even know his last name.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Golston,
Wow.
Terrence.
My
Come
man.
on.
Terrence?
Hey,
Terrence?
to be totally
Bone
honest with you,
Golston.
we couldn't get T-Bone, so that's why we invited you.
So I'm second.
No, man. You're actually T-Bone is on our list, but you're first.
That's what I wanted
That's
to hear.
right.
Oh, man. Hey, well, we're so glad you're here.
Yep.
So glad you're here. My very first question is,
Well, I'm sorry. What size is this drink?
This sleeps 4 to 6 comfortably.
What is the rent on that thing,
Yeah.
man?
oh, my God.
And they call it a Route 44.
Is that around
Oh,
44?
yes.
Big gulp, huh?
Route
Yeah.
44.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. String. How would you sell hot chocolate in Florida?
Easy. You put it on ice and save frozen chocolate milk.
Wait. So you put hot chocolate in ice and call it frozen chocolate milk.
Yeah.
That is genius.
Is that a thing?
Okay, so hear
It
me
is
out.
now.
Let me.
Copyright.
I love that answer. Okay, so you got ice. You pour hot chocolate in the ice.
Over.
It melts the ice, and then it's just milk.
Well, not
It's
necessarily.
watery milk.
Chocolate,
milk.
watery chocolate milk.
Exactly.
So
But if you're hot on the beach, you'll drink it.
yeah, that's true.
That
that's
is true.
That's
And
true.
you get water as part of your, which you should be drinking anyways if you're
That's
out on
right.
the beach.
Hey, you can sell anything.
You get
in Florida.
hydrated.
You get
That's
hydrated.
right.
Okay. Here's a good one. What would you do if you found a penguin in your freezer?
Well, I put it on a grill
I knew he was gonna say this.
because I've never had penguin meat.
Let's talk. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
So I follow you on Instagram. I'm a big fan. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But you,
absolutely.
you eat cow tongue, right?
Oh yeah,
Cow tongue.
that is some of the most tender meat you will ever eat.
Is that meat?
Yeah,
A tongue?
yeah,
Is it Is it considered beef because it's
yeah.
part of the cow?
It's part of a cow. Yeah,
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
any part of the cow is
Yeah.
considered beef.
and all you do is you boil it with some salt in it, and then that tongue, the rough, because when you first get it, it's rough. It's tongue. It's like a cow.
Yeah.
But then once you boil it, it separates that, and you just peel it, and then you just slice it down.
Yeah.
And it's the most. Put it on bread with some gravy. Ooh, you'll smack your mammy and reach for your granny.
Oh man, I
Um,
don't know about it, man. I don't know.
I'm not left speechless often, but the visual of a boiled cow tongue.
Yeah.
Not nearly as bad as when you first open the pack and you pick it up. It's like rough around the cow's
Have you
tongue.
been licked? Has anybody in the room ever been licked by a cow tongue before?
It's
Okay,
disgusting.
so I went to a drive-through zoo in Alabama. Okay.
What?
Have you guys ever heard of this? A drive-through zoo.
I've
It
been-
is
I've been through one.
terrible.
Yeah, I've been through
It's
one.
terrible. Animals come up, they're licking your car window. It's crazy. So there wasn't a cow, but I got licked by like a camel or something.
But some you don't know what
Yeah, I did. I blacked out, man. It was crazy.
it was at night.
It was-
Yeah, how do you
yeah,
not know? How do you
yeah.
not know what it was?
Also, it wasn't a real zoo, but
Okay, what's the most exotic thing you've ever eaten?
Probably camel or kangaroo.
okay. Wait, is it legal to eat kangaroo?
Well, yeah.
Is
you
it
have to-
legal to eat camel?
Yeah, you have to order kangaroo from Australia, and they have to. It's expensive to ship because they can't ship it to California. California won't allow camel
Right,
meat,
obviously,
so
yeah.
you have to bring it through New York because New York will do anything.
Right. They'll eat anything.
they'll, and then it
They'll
comes
put it on their pizza.
Yeah, but you have to cook it. You have to cook camel though with camel hump fat, and that's a whole different thing you got to buy. You got to buy hump fat to go in the camel.
Where do you buy camel hump fat?
You have to order it.
From
From where? Sorry, you keep saying order.
Well, you
where
gotta-
yeah,
where
yeah.
from?
There-
what?
there-
Where are
there's
these
a web-
websites?
They call it exotic.
Don't tell us, don't tell us.
Exotic foods or something like that. You just Google it, you'll find it. I've got a closet just full of nothing but hump fat.
I totally believe that.
I look for bargains. I'm a bargain shopper.
On desertfarms.com.
Where's the Costco for camel meats?
Wait, use code STRING20 on desertfarms.com.
And you get 25%
Yeah, that's our
discount.
first sponsor.
We do not have sponsors.
Yeah, sorry.
But I would take you on as a sponsor, exoticmeatmarkets.com, if you chose. Wow. Well,
Hey.
that brings me to our next little thing. String, we love looking at your social media.
Yeah, we're big fans.
Huge fans. In fact, I couldn't pull it up on my computer, so I'm gonna have to pull it up on my phone. But we have found quite a few things that you've posted. Most recently,
Like 8,000 of them.
Literally 8,000 posts.
the one you posted 7 hours ago. I'm reading a horror story in Braille. Something bad is about to happen. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Okay? Or I make teddy bears from turkeys. They cook very evenly, and the kids will love them.
Hey, that's why you do it, man.
Okay? One of my personal favorites.
Oh, yeah, it's deep, man. There's
What about-
8,000 to choose from.
Every fork in all your restaurants has been in a mouth like this.
Make sure you show that to the camera.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot. Okay, there's a lot. String 5153. Okay.
Yep.
Wholesome
Follow us,
content. Wholesome content, and also dinner invites sometimes.
Yeah, man.
If you're in the right place at the right time, checking Instagram at the right time,
You
you
could
could
get
get a meal, a free
A free
meal,
steak.
to come hang out with you. I mean, I saw last night you were eating a steak.
Yeah.
You celebrated a steak yesterday.
And lobster mac and cheese.
$120 steak.
Hey, by your
Son.
side. Let's go, my
But it was
man.
good. I'm gonna tell you,
It
was
better
good.
be good. I love it. Hey, so what's your source? That's our real question.
Jesus.
For your memes.
Where did you get the meme string?
Well, no. To be honest with you, you'd be surprised how many people send me memes to say, "Here's something you can post,"
Okay.
and I'm feel like going, "You bunch of chickens," you know. Post them yourself.
That's
Okay, so
fine.
you're the only one brave enough to post these memes.
That's what they don't.
So
have
you don't
crazy.
have like an app or a website that you pull memes from?
No, and a lot of times, because I put them up for so long, some of them I put up recently. I pull them up from my memories on Facebook.
So you recycle memes.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you may eat a lot of different animals, but you do believe in recycling, which is
Yes,
good.
yes, I'm green.
Yeah, right.
All right, so you've had the chance to speak into a lot of students' lives. You've done student ministry for a long time. What would you say to your younger self? Because I feel like oftentimes when leaders lead, for as long as you've led for, how many years have you led?
Over 30.
Over 30. Okay, this is the first year in a long time you haven't led, and but you're doing a lot of other stuff at the church. Okay, so don't let me downplay that. What's some advice that you've given to some of those students, and what would you say to your younger self if you're sitting in their shoes?
Well, understanding I didn't get saved till I was probably closer to 30.
Okay.
And I was not a good person and didn't live a good life. And I was a follower. And if I had to say one thing to kids is that students today is don't follow. Be willing to stand, even if it's for what's good, even if you have to stand alone. And that would be the greatest thing because, I mean, let's face it, at some point in our time we all want to fit in, we all want to do that. But that's not nearly as important as doing what God has called you to do.
Yeah, man. That's such a great message. And that's why me and Evan wanted to have you on, not just because you're awesome and a lot of fun, and not just because you served for a long time, but like you didn't get saved until you were 30, but gave the next 30 years to Jesus. And so like we were talking to our high school pastor Justin, he talked about like it's never too late to return to Jesus, but to see how like faithful and consistent you've been for those 30 years. I think it's a great message to high school students, middle school students, whoever's watching this. It's like, hey, like if you feel like you've messed up, you're too far gone, like you're not.
You're not. And plus, you know, I remember when I got saved, I was led to the Lord by Alan Duncan.
Yeah.
And Alan told me that at my age, the chances of me getting saved was probably less than 10%.
Wow.
That most people that make decisions make it when they're younger. But for you to not get saved till you're 30, and so, you know, I felt like that God had His hand on me. You know? And then joining this church. I mean, imagine a church this size. It was almost like this church staff back then, Gene Mims and all, Rick Jenkins, they weren't going to let me fail. They would have me over to their house. I mean, our senior pastor would call me and say, String, my wife's making barbecue shrimp, come over. And I'm like, you know, and because so often we do a good job at church of leading people to the Lord and then baptizing them, and then sometimes we let them fall through the cracks. But that church staff, and I guess God was through it all, wasn't going to let me fail. I mean, if I even thought about doing something wrong, I mean, everybody was calling me, going, "Come on, String, let's go, let's go."
Awesome.
You know, so I feel lucky and blessed.
Dude, I love be willing to stand even if you have to stand alone.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that reminds me of Nehemiah. Story of Nehemiah, right? Like he is taken out of his homeland, and he has a heart and a desire to get back there and rebuild Jerusalem, rebuild the house of the Lord, rebuild the walls that were torn down. And I think it's, you know, I think it's downplayed how hard it is sometimes to stand alone, right? To stand up for your faith and to stand alone sometimes for Jesus, because in the realm of students that you've invested in for so long, I mean, it is really hard to stand up for Jesus. It's really hard to lead out in your circle for Jesus when not so much that people will make fun of you, okay, but when you have so many other things going on that take so much of your mind space, right? Like there's so many other things that want space in your mind that it's hard it's easy to not stand up for Jesus.
Yeah, I had a student one time tell me, I was having dinner with him. He wasn't even in our youth group. I just met him through a basketball team, and so we went to dinner. And I was sharing with him and everything like that. I was encouraging him, and he just said, "String, you don't understand. It's tough. I can't do it." I said, "What do you mean you can't do it?" You know, but just understanding the pressure that was on that, you know, that he felt was too much for him to handle, because you know, you get to be a Christian, and I mean, you're on a pedestal. People are looking at you, you know, and most people will tell you, well, Christians, they don't smoke, they don't cuss, and they don't drink. That's a byproduct. I mean, but being a Christian is so much more. And so it's selling out to say, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to glorify the name of God.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome. One thing I love is like boldness doesn't just mean like always having to stand alone. That's one reason why we do what we do, right? In student ministry and being a part of a church is because we don't have to do it alone. Like we get to do it together. And that's one thing, like, I mean, you made that decision at the age of 30, like, hey, I'm going to take a stand even if I have to do it alone. But what you immediately saw was you didn't have to. You had pastors, friends were going to hold you accountable. And that's what we've seen in your life and the way you serve is that you don't let people be alone, you know? Like you go to people's games, you do a lot of different creative things to be with people, and so we've just really seen like the power of your presence.
You know, in any ministry, it's relationships.
Yeah.
It's our relationships with each other, and then our relationship with God. And if God's not the center point of that relationship, then we don't have a ministry. And you know, I still try to meet with kids and get to know them, because Heath Esslinger gave me the greatest compliment I ever had. He said, String, he said, you don't want to meet people, you want to get to know them. And it's so true. I want to know somebody, you know, because it's a lot better. Like since I know you, if you came to me and said, String, would you pray for me? This is what's going on in my life. You know what? That prayer all of a sudden becomes so much more personal.
Yeah.
And so just meeting people, there's so many people in this town that may know me, you know, but I don't know them. And so I still seek out. As a matter of fact, Friday night, I'm taking 3 wrestlers from Cleveland who I've just met, and we're going to go have dinner Friday night.
That's awesome.
They want to give up they don't want to go to the football game. They said, we want to go eat with you. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome. I love that. Man, being bold with your faith, standing when you got to stand alone. And I think, you know, I think you said it, being bold in your faith is knowing people, right? Getting to know people is an easy way to be bold with your faith, because eventually that faith talk will come out. Even if it doesn't come out in the first conversation, in the second conversation, in the third conversation, it will come out, right?
Yeah.
It'll come out. And so, man, being bold in having conversations with people.
And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Man, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. I love that. Dalton, anything else, man?
Man, I've just been blessed by you. Whole lot of wisdom. Guys, if you don't know String, get to know him. He's always down to hang out, but also, like, I just think the wisdom you share, but also, like, how fun you are is what, like, when you go to dinner with those 3 guys, you're not going to be like, all right, like, tell me everything. You got to decide tonight, or you got to follow Jesus. Like, that's, you're going to build a relationship with them.
Yep.
And I mean, I know guys that you took out to eat in high school that you're friends with now, and now they're 30.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even older, like, just the legacy and so strong. We're so glad you're a part of our church, but also you're part of this podcast. Like,
Hey!
it just got infinitely better.
No strings attached. Also, No Agenda Student Ministry Podcast until there is one.
Until we have one.
Hey, we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Thanks,
See ya.
man.